This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook, and I have a treat for everyone because we have Bob Glazer. He is the co-founder and CEO of Acceleration Partners and also the co-founder of Brand Cycle. I want to get into it with you, Bob, because these are extraordinary times, which causes for extraordinary people. And I think we need to help people understand, it's not a short game. And looking at your career, you've really been able to play a long game. Has that always been your perspective? I know you went to some great schools, but have you always had a long perspective of how to create success and profitability in your life?
Yeah, I've always had a long game. It's one of my sort of core values, and it's interesting that you mentioned that because right now I'm being forced to look at the world through a 60-day lens, but with a long-term implication. So we really in our I know a lot of CEOs are sort of having to run wartime playbook, and it's like how do we change our perspective while making sure that we feel good about everything that we've done when we come out the other side, and that we don't violate our values and our core values in any way.
It's so weird for me because in 97, 2001, and 2008, I was in complete war room mode.
Yeah.
Everything that I had built did not take into consideration historical factors that subconsciously, at least I knew, and sometimes consciously they came across my mind.
Yeah.
Um, but yet, just by accident, no great genius, I built a business that was one of the few that actually benefits from this circumstance that's created. And it's the first time where I'm sitting here going, wow, I'm not up 22 hours a day figuring out, and I can use my time to help other people stabilize their businesses and look for opportunities within that context, just so some entrepreneurs can get some insight. What is it like in your perspective in the 60-day period, for example, when you're in the war room? How do you balance between stabilization and opportunity? Because you have to consider both, and I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, you're running scenarios all day. Like it is like game theory, war war sort of planning, and really trying to balance a bunch of different stakeholders. I've shared in some of my writing, I think during these times, like purpose is more important than ever. And for me, I have a long-term core purpose, but for me, the short-term core purpose has been to keep as many people employed as possible, right? And that starts with my company, our partners, our clients, and I think we're super fortunate. We're in digital marketing. We were a work from home company. We're probably in the top 5% right now. We're not, and that's relative, right? It's not like it's great, and we're not immune from any of the things going on. And I don't think anyone knows the impact of, great. So you send someone an invoice. Are they going to pay for it in 30 days? So that's really how I sort of look at the sort of hierarchy of needs, and I'm really just really focused on that and making decisions kind of under that lens.
And I talk a lot about skills, knowledge, and desire. And most successful entrepreneurs, I always have a saying, right? They must be what they can be. And you absolutely, through your career as a student, you can see that you're one of those people that must be what they can be. What skills today are most important, and even regardless of these 60 days, but obviously the lemon juice, when a lemon is squeezed, it
Yeah.
comes out, you can start seeing what skills really are purposeful and important. What are some of those skills that you see during this period of time that are so essential to making it through to the other side?
Yeah, I mean, our business is a win-win model. Well, I don't like that term. I've always tried to focus on partnerships and how we do well by helping other people. And so to me, like that's the playbook right now, which is like, I'm writing about this week. You can look upstream at all the stuff that's rolling at you, right? Or you can look downstream and be like, other people are worse off. Other people need my help. And it's helpful to have that focus and take it about off yourself and have that sort of higher purpose. So I've had lots of conversations where, I think like, here's an idea, here's how I can help you. I got on the phone with the publisher of my book, email. We're getting on the phone this morning, and they, Amazon's deprioritizing all book sales and inventory. And so, I gave her some ideas that I'm seeing from marketing and the president of the company, and she wanted to jump on. And I'm like, look, here's what I see businesses doing right now. They're trying to help as much as they can without hurting themselves, knowing that at the end of that rainbow, people are going to remember that. And they're trying to innovate. So look, if you didn't have a digital strategy, you're figuring it out fast right now. If you didn't have a way to deliver your services over the internet, like you feel like some way people are learning because they had to. So we are trying to innovate. I'm trying to write about the things that I think can help people. We're gravitating towards the customers that are doing well. We're thinking about our offerings. I mean, the problems being solved every day and the ideas that are being generated, it's actually incredible once you get everyone harnessed on this and you get out of the non-essential. This is forcing most of the ADD entrepreneurs to put blindfolds on that they've never put on before, and I some good will come of that.
And then a lot of people, you guys are experts at working at home, right? Your business was already built in that, and there's so many people.
Not with kids hanging off you, but yes.
Right. Okay. Good point. And if one walks by in the back, I apologize to everybody.
I might have one too. I can't keep track.
I've asked them not to, but it never works. And my wife will be the biggest offender of that. And that brings me to my point, though, is that you were talking about most entrepreneurs have ADD. Most are frequented by distractions. By 2027, before this happened, over 50% of our workforce were going to be freelancers. I think this now has accelerated that. What are some of the tips of working at home that you're sharing with people through your experience of running a business where people are remote all the time?
Yeah, so a couple of different things that I think have been helpful. One is, if people haven't already, make everything video. Make a 5-second call a video. So since we're all remote, we're all on the same page, which has been helpful. Like, you don't have this one person working remote while the other people aren't. So we've used video by default. Like I can see if we have rapport. I can see if you're not buying anything I'm saying. I can see if you're distracted. It's super helpful, I think, from if in person's at 10.
Bob, just so people know too, if you can't do it by video, then absolutely do it by voice, right? Because I've learned most of these kids that are working for me remotely.
Not even email. Yeah,
they're emailing or texting and like, well, no one's getting back to me. I'm like, if you call them, you get intonation, connotation, but if you can't do video or voice, but go ahead. So that's
and by the way, right now they're dealing with a fire. They've got tons of emails. They're exhausted. They might appreciate a call and be like, it's the first thing everyone calls me this week. I'm like, are we having fun yet? How's it going? Just something to, make them laugh, or, I usually get a chuckle even from people who are like in the midst of going out of business. So I think they appreciate the levity. So that's one. Two is like, keep your schedule. Don't use it as a sort of reason, but, I'm just at home. Like, I would put everything in your calendar, your meetings, your workout, your, like kind of divide it. You're going to go out and have your lunch break. You really need that. I think that normalcy of schedule. And then the third for a lot of people is some sort of physical separation. Now, particularly with the kids at home, you might not have it, but like, delineate your workspace and your home space. And behave. And as crazy as it seems, like, don't do the work at home and don't do home at work. I think that is a important. Some people don't have the office. If you're picking, the corner of the room and the desk, like, transition. When your kids want to play with you for a half hour, like, go into their space. I just think the boundary is really helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, and to that point, the boundary, especially where you sleep. Do not work where you sleep. It will absolutely affect your sleep. And two, I think also to reverse it, you and I are dealing with the kids and the wives and things like that, but the millennials are dealing with their parents. And I see the other side of the coin is you need that separation. You've been separated from them. You might have parents or grandparents. Make sure that you have those boundaries, because parents also, it can be worse than children. They now are excited that you're home and they want to be engaged in your life.
So my employees are posting their schedules in Slack, and there's clear delineations they've put it up with their family. Here's don't bother, and we went over on our sort of morning war room meeting that we're doing every week. And one of the 5-year-olds said to someone on my leadership team, Mommy, like, that was supposed, you asked me not to violate your time and you violated our time. So like, I thought that was good. Right. I mean, they're teaching my kids and family are sort of used to it because they're used to me being here, but not being here. But you're right. I think it's really hard for some other people to see them physically there and not know that they're in work mode. And we know from the studies that when you distract someone, it can take them like 17 minutes to kind of regain focus on what they were doing.
Yeah, I know you also have a Friday program that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of insight of how that is useful at this time as well.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I sort of improved my morning, and part of that is reading and exercise and writing, and reading something positive. And I was at a leadership retreat, and they gave us some quote books and some stuff that was just too rainbow and unicorny for me. So I actually decided, as part of my writing, I would try to come up with something I would send to my team every Friday that was 40 and virtual, I just sent it one Friday, and then I sent it the next Friday, and it was, it had a quote, it had a challenge. It wasn't about our business. It was about something holistically about personal development or an interesting story or motivation. And then weeks later, I actually started to get some replies, and people were like, "Oh, I did this," or "I love this," or "I sent it to my husband and he forwarded it to his company." And I was at a entrepreneurs organization event for EO, and I was talking to some other CEOs, and I said, I've been writing this note every week for a couple of months, and I've enjoyed it, and I've gotten really great feedback, and you guys should try it. And they said, "Okay, well, send us your note." And I sent it. And so, like good entrepreneurs, one of them started doing his own for 4 years, and the other 3 said, "This is great. We'll just send this to our team every week." And so then I was like, "Oh, maybe people outside would be interested." So I made it so people could sign up. Someone wrote an article in a newsletter. 2,000 people signed up, and a couple years later, there's 100,000 people on the email list in 60 countries, and over 200,000 on LinkedIn that have subscribed to it as well. So same note still goes out every Friday. And I've gotten just, particularly at this time, and this week's one kind of is a story about something you can do that's innovative during this time. I've gotten really incredible notes from people all over the world.
And where can people sign up for that?
They can sign up at FridayFWD.com, or all my stuff is all integrated at RobertGlazer.com.
All right, last question, which I've just brought on. It's really interesting during these times. But if you could go either back in time or forward into the future, which one would you do and why?
If I could go back in time or forward, I'd go back in time, because I think, I don't really have any regrets, but you just feel like you'd have the knowledge to handle situations that I am not someone regret. I'm very much we are where we are. And I think the people struggling right now are the ones that are holding on to yesterday and haven't adjusted to we are where we are, and like, what can I do from here? But I'm always trying to learn. And so why wouldn't I want to apply that to situations in my past that could have helped?
That is awesome. So interesting is the reason I asked that question is I was told that people that say they go back in time are not afraid of the future. And I always predetermine and make a bet from in my head when I'm interviewing you. I knew you would say back in time, because I could tell the strategy that you employ, the education, the experiences that you've had. There was no way you're afraid of the future.
So the people who would go forward are afraid of the future?
Yeah, they're afraid because they don't know what it is, so they want to know what it is.
Oh, got it.
Calm them down, right? They want to see, are we going to make it through this? Or like you have no fear.
Right, because that mindset implies that it's what's going on in the world and not what they can do, right?
Correct. Yeah. So really interesting. And I think it's important for entrepreneurs also that, my mom always had me study history because human nature never changes.
Totally.
That has prepared me for today. And I've never been.
Ray Dalio is having a field day right now in his book Principles, right?
Absolutely, man. I'm blessed to be on stage with I was supposed to be on stage with him, but I'm blessed to be speaking on stage with him when this whole thing gets done and we all get back on stages to help people. But Bob Glazer, what a pleasure it's been to have you on the Playbook. Your insight's incredible. Make sure you check this guy out. I'll let you go back to the controlled chaos, to control the future and help everybody. I appreciate you. This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.